Hey guys, today I'm going to share with you a case study about a $1 billion company. It's $1 billion in revenues. I'll share with you all the details, what you need to know. And yeah, let's get to it. So hey, if you're new to this channel, my name is Moran Palbera. I'm the founder and CEO of Acquisitions.com. In the last 2.5 years, we were involved in 100 plus acquisitions of small businesses doing at least $1 million a year in revenues in any sector you can think of, in dozens, like more than dozens of countries at this point. So I'm going to share with you some awesome stuff from insides of deals that we worked on and deals that I'm just studying out there of random companies. So hopefully you'll be able to obviously do your own roll-up if that's something that you want to do. Now, roll-up, for those of you who don't know, is basically the opportunity to buy few companies in one sector. You can call it consolidation of a sector or companies or whatever you want to call it, right? It's basically a hub and spoke model or a platform company model or pretty much whatever you want to call it. It's just the idea that you're going into a sector and buying few companies in the same sector for the opportunity of you to receive a higher valuation just by the fact that you're a bigger company that is more basically a better operation, more effective, and whatnot. Now, with the company that I'm going to share with you the details about, it's a private company, so the valuation, you can't really put a valuation on a private company unless like there's a liquidity event. Every valuation by then is just based on whatever the internal numbers that you have. And if you're a business owner or you're about to buy a business, I think it's a great idea to have some kind of valuation on an ongoing basis internally, just by the fact that it's your business, you're putting your sweat equity or effort into that. And think about it this way, I'm sure a lot of you bought stocks in the past. Like, think about like, when can you know the valuation of value of Tesla? And the answer is pretty much every second, right? You just go to your app and you see the value of Tesla. But with private companies, most people don't know what they're worth. They don't even know how to value a business. So I highly recommend that if you're going to spend years of your life and hours every day in a business, like, make sure that you have at least one way to value your business on a regular basis. So you're taking it seriously and you know if your value is growing over time. Otherwise, it's kind of like why you're even in business in the first place. Now, there's a lot of ways to value a company. Is just to end on that thought before we go into the details. A lot of ways to value a company. Usually the bigger the business, the bigger the valuation. There's a lot of nuances that you're going to get as well, like how fast the company is growing, how dependent the business is on one customer, employee, owner, what are the products, is it a recurring revenue or not. A lot of details that I could probably talk in other videos, but this video I want to talk about roll-ups. So let's talk about this specific example. So this is an example in the dental space. Actually, the name of the company is Heartland Dental, and they bought around 1,400 clinics. So basically they went out there, and the pitch is basically for each dental practice to tell them, look, we're building here a group and would love for you to join us on that group. Here is the value that we can give to you, and here's the offer that we are willing to give you. Now, the reason that roll-up worked really well is the fact that the entrepreneurs that worked on that roll-up really sold themselves as a company that supporting the entrepreneurs, that supporting the sellers basically, or call them their partners. So the biggest problem with a roll-up is not financials, it's not operationals. Those are things that you can fix and handle really fast. The biggest problem with roll-ups is cultural, because a lot of business owners became business owners because they don't want to have someone to tell them what to do. And a lot of the private equity model roll-ups is they're going out there and they're basically becoming someone boss. They're giving them too much structured operations. They're telling them what to do. They're changing everything that they're used to do. And people just don't love that. Think about yourself. If you're an entrepreneur, do you want people to tell you what to do? Mostly the answer is no. Otherwise, you wouldn't become an entrepreneur in the first place. So back to that roll-up, the reason that it worked really well is the fact that the entrepreneurs of the roll-up, call it the sponsors, the syndicators, the deal makers, really position themselves as entrepreneurs that work for the dental clinics, that basically wake up every day in order to add value to those clinics. That's why it worked really well. And I'm going to share with you the deal structure. You'll understand why it really makes so much sense, right? So they basically added a lot of value when it comes to operationals, to technology, to systems. And by doing that, it added a lot of value to the overall group, plus didn't make the owners of the dental clinic separately as basically having a boss, right? So let's go through that. So if you want to create your own roll-up, make sure that you remember that culture is the most important thing. Who are the people you're going to work with? Are they aligned with your vision? Are they aligned with your values? Do you see them as someone you even want to spend time with? This is so important. Like, I think Naval is saying that something like, if you don't see yourself working with someone for the rest of your life, don't work with him for even a day. Like, life is short. We don't want to work with just jerks, right? We want to work with people we enjoy working with and just enjoy having a conversation with. For me, I found out that if I'm having a conversation with someone and I'm going out of the conversation less energized, like almost like drained out of energy, then it's probably not a person I want to spend a lot of time with. I like to work with people when I'm leaving the call, I'm like energized. I just want to like eat the wall. I want to do more things. So really think about yourself, like when you're doing things, who are the people you're working with and do you want to spend time with them? So let's go back to that roll up. Like I said, it's in the dental space. So it was really important to also make sure that each of the dental clinics and practice is aligned towards the overall vision, because those small businesses are really dependent on the dentist. Think about yourself when you're going to a dentist, like you really care about who's your dentist, right? You're not going to any random person. So if the dentist is leaving the clinic, it's going to be very, very difficult to replace him, at least to that level, that fast. So think for yourself, if you're looking to buy a business, ask yourself, like, is that a business that like is really dependent on the owner? And if it is, can I have at least a good transition period to find a replacement? And do you have a strategy to make sure you find a good replacement for him? So let me share with you the average deal structure for that roll-up so you could use it on your own roll-ups if that's what you want to do. The average dental clinics did 1 million in revenues, $200,000 in profits. So 1 million in revenues, 200,000 in profits. Then the average purchase price was 2.5, so 500,000. And the pitch for the dentist was basically, look, if you're going to try to sell your dental clinic on your own, then you're going to get probably lower multiples because the business is really dependent on you. Probably no one's going to buy it from you. It's definitely not going to give you cash, and it's going to be for a lower multiple, and you're going to sell for someone who don't know what they're doing. If you're going to work with us, we're going to pay you a fair amount. We're not going to pay you everything cash, but we're also going to give you an opportunity to retain 10% of your equity, right? So if the purchase price is $500,000, we're going to allow you to retain $100,000 as a rollover, call it back-end equity towards the holding company. Remember, if we're buying a lot of companies, if you're going to buy a lot of companies, you're going to have separate entities, then a holding company that is basically consolidating all the financials on all the accounts. And the name of the business doesn't really matter. Like, you can have separate brands in each of those companies, and then one company on the top with one other random name. Or if you want, almost like becoming like a franchise, you can also change the names in each of those companies, like make sure that the branding is aligned. That could potentially save you cost in advertising and whatnot, because you're only advertising nationally one brand instead of hundreds or thousands in this case. So back to the purchase price and the deal structure, and that's a deal structure that you can do with one deal or with thousands of deals, right? It doesn't matter. So if you're looking at the deal that was structured here is basically 2.5 multiples on average. $100,000 was retained as a back-end rollover equity. $200,000 was a down payment, so basically cash on hand. And then another $200,000 was usually leveraged and financed over a period of around 60 months on average as a seller finance, right? And obviously it's all negotiable, it's on a deal by deal basis, but that's kind of like the average structure of what a deal like that looked like. And it's very valuable for both sides, because from the seller side, they're getting access to cash right away, not 100%, but they're getting access to a nice chunk of cash as part of the deal right away, which will allow the seller to pay his mortgage, buy a second home, buy a nice car, take a nice vacation, very nice vacation actually for $200,000. But what I'm saying is that they're getting access to cash right away, to liquidity right away. They're going to get access to more cash over time, over the seller financing period, which basically means that there's alignment between the seller and buyer, knowing that, okay, let's make sure that the seller is actually going to stay there to do the work. And there are some terms and clauses around the seller financing, obviously, to make sure that there is alignment and that the dentist is actually doing work to get the $200,000. Plus, if the clinic, that specific clinic, and the overall roll-up is going to grow, which it did, then the overall $100,000 over time in equity is going to be worth much, much more, because the overall group now is valued at much more than 2.5 multiples. So overall, the $100,000 is going to be worth much, much more. And if you look at the overall company at this point, again, it's a private company, but if you put it to comparables to other companies at that size, you're seeing multiples from 20 to 30 times. So basically, it's a very nice jump of equity value of more than 10x just by having the dentist to keep their equity as part of the overall holding company on the back end. I hope I don't overwhelm you. Like, those videos might be, kind of like a bit over the top, but I'm sharing these videos seriously because I just like to talk about them, and hopefully some people will see the value in it as well. If you like those videos, let me know in the comments below, and I'll create more of those on deals that we work on or under other random roll-ups that we study. And hopefully, who knows, maybe in the future we'll work with you on a roll-up and invest alongside you on one of your deals. So again, let me know in the comments below. Just write down roll-ups or whatever questions you have. Like, subscribe, and I'll create some more videos on that if you like that. Either way, I hope you enjoy that. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.